Hey guys, JB here from Alpha Wolf Consulting. What I wanted to talk to you today about was automated workflows and what is a workflow, and then again, what is an automated workflow? So we'll jump right into it and we'll have a look. So basically, inside your CRM, a workflow is each stage of that CRM. What are the automated tasks associated with that step or with that stage of the pipeline? So, for example, I've broken my automated tasks into my different pipelines. And then as we go in there, in the book Zoom stage, then we've got each of the steps has its own automated workflow. So what is a workflow? A workflow is just a series of tasks that have to be completed for that step. So what it's the data that needs to be retrieved from the client. It's how do we want to represent that data in that client. It's meeting certain key milestones of our sales process. For example, a sales presentation being attended, and things like that. And then we can even put in all of our communication, all of our tagging, so that our data sources are highly segmented for easier retargeting. Alrighty, so we'll just jump straight into my first one, which is the new lead workflow. So as a new lead comes in, I'll explain and break it down for you. What we have here is we have workflow triggers. So at the top here, workflow triggers are what's triggering the lead to come into the pipeline or into the workflow. So for example, we've got a web form submission. So a form submission, which is the submission on the website when someone fills out our lead capture form. And then the other one is a manual pipeline stage change. So this is when I manually in the opportunities tab, move my leads around through action. Now, I am a firm believer in not automating movements, in more around manual moving. So there's a sweet spot between basically having automated processes and then having behavioral strategies that we implement with our staff, because we don't want to rely too much on automation, and we also don't want to rely too much on people doing the tasks that need to be done, because then if a state of overwhelms comes or anything like that, they generally try to do the best they can. But once you get into an overwhelmed state, you start to drop the lowest producing activities to try and focus and manage your dollar productive or your high productive ones. So automations allow us to take the small aspects of our sale that really give our audience or our consumer a great feeling or a great experience, and we automate that so everyone gets that. And then it's how do we increase or how do we train or develop our behavioral patterns so that we can then complement that and go one or two steps further in a consumer experience. So that's everything from having our response times down pat. So having a very consistent, concise way of responding is one way we can add on to the automated workflows. Also having our information and our data input. So being really good at taking great notes, inputting them in a way to where when you read again, you're straight back into that sale. So it's not too much of having to talk to people and rehash out old information. We want to minimize doing that. We want to really show our clients that, yeah, we're someone who can be trusted, and we're someone who is accurate, and we're someone who is very meticulous. And that's our goal. So with the automated workflows, so now we're going to jump into the different, not stages, but the different tasks and how we can break them up and how we can basically create activities that the software will do for us, so tasks and activities. So a great thing to do is to utilize wait time. So a wait time is a time period where the software will wait and then the action begins. And then what we can do is we can have a secondary wait, because the thing is if we don't have wait times, so timed blocks that stop the software from taking action or doing activities, what will happen is it'll try and do everything simultaneously. So the weights give us a bit of a linear time frame of actions happening, similar to how we would do it if we had to do it manually. So that's one of the beautiful things, is it'll allow us to really create a very natural and authentic feeling of an experience to our user, to where they don't necessarily notice the software doing or the software sending out messages, sending out tasks, activities, assigning data and things like that. It'll just look like we're highly professional and highly efficient at what we do. So that's one of the beautiful things about it. So we jump in, and what happens is we've got a 2-minute wait from a new lead coming in, and then it'll assign it to a user. So in this case, it assigns it to me. So I'll get a notification of a new being assigned to a new lead. And then basically there's a 1-minute wait where a new lead, and then a new lead tag will be added. So it'll identify the lead as new lead. And then we can even edit it to the marketing source or any point of reference if it's a geolocation. So for example, if you're selling to people in Western Australia and you're in New South Wales, or you sell to all of Australia, what you can do is you can segment up, where am I capturing these leads from? Or where geographically are they located? Let's cluster them together, and then we can look at working, an approach where we can hit multiple targets in the same time frame. So, for example, if you were doing phone sales or any kind of prospecting, and you were going between the different states, one big thing to watch out for is the time delays, so the daylight savings and things like that. Just remember that, I think South Australia is like half an hour behind Queensland, Western Australia is 2 hours, and then when daylight savings kick in, Sydney goes, or New South Wales and Melbourne go an hour back or an hour forward, one of the two. But basically what happens is when we can segment them up, we can also then do cultural. We can use language, just geographic culture, geographic language to talk to those people as if we're one of them. And that's one of the great things about really, really diving into how do we segment our audience and how do we curate and cultivate a message that resonates with different segments of our audience, so that we're able to, with multiple messaging, pick up the most that we could possibly pick up out of that audience. Alrighty, so the next step is it'll create up an opportunity. So what this does, this creates a deal in the CRM. So we're able to basically assign where it is, and then we're able to assign the opportunity name. So the opportunity name is really good because it helps us to segment and have our data clear. So for example, contact name, contact company name. That allows me to segment through, like, who are we talking to, and then we can even go further than that. But it's a really great way to have consistent design patterns that go throughout your whole process. What that does is that allows your sales staff or your sales team or yourself to train your brain to be able to identify critical errors or critical information at a moment's notice. And it takes a little bit of work to get there, but when you have structure and systems, what you're able to do is you're able to have organized responses, and you're able to implement and improve on them in quite minuscule ways, because we're not looking for 100% improvement, we're looking for 101% improvements. All right, we're able to put in the opportunity source. So what the opportunity source allows us to do is it allows us to segment where did that lead come from. And depending on your business model, if you use, for example, like, you know, you have BDMs that are out there and they're doing their own marketing and they're generating their own leads. This allows them to get recognized for, hey, I brought this lead into the company. And it also allows you to see the value and help build that up. What we're able to do as well is add in lead values. Okay, so the lead value is a good tool because what it allows us to do is one, future project our cash flow for the business, to project our pipeline value. So, for the work we're doing day in, day out, what is the opportune value that we're looking to obtain from it? It allows us to then identify in our sales process, where are the bottlenecks? Where are the clients getting stuck and not moving ahead? And how do we increase that to increase cash flow on the short term? Or how do we solve that bottleneck to create the flow so that they can just keep moving through. And what that allows us to do is that allows us to efficiently identify potential issues or potential areas where our whole process isn't at 100%. So that's bringing down the brand, that's bringing down the consumer experience. So what we want to do is we want to get on top of that straight away and identify and put in place processes that will counteract or negate any negative effects. So, for example, what you're able to do with that is, if, for example, around, like, let's say near the end of your process, so after you've had your sales presentation, they've said yes, there's a bottleneck between them saying yes and the cash flow coming through, or them paying the cash flow. What we're able to do is we're able to, if we've identified that, then what we can do is back in the process, early in the process, that's when we get a financial commitment. That's when we do it, because we want to negate that. So we condition throughout the early stages of the process that, hey, once you say yes, once you sign up, payment is payment. It needs to be paid within a certain amount of days. And what we're able to do, depending on the cycle of your sales cycle, or the time frame of your sales cycle, if it's a shorter sales cycle, we want to do it a little bit more aggressively, or a little bit more. We're looking to do direct sales, so we're looking to get cash up front, pretty much. Whereas if we're doing a longer sales cycle, more like, buying a property or something like that, whereas it can be 6 to 12 months, because there's many variables outside of the actual sale that influence the outcome of the sale. So what we're able to do is, in the early stages and throughout the first part of the process, we're able to condition heavily to, this is the process, this is how it's done. These are the acceptable time limits and things like that. And these are the averages, and these are what we work towards. And what we're able to do is we're able to condition payment upon saying yes, or upon agreement. Rather than they agree, then we request payment. Do you get it? It's sort of like, if we can identify where potential issues are, we can condition the client to do the opposite to what everyone else is doing, which is really good. Perfect. So the next part is, there's a 15-minute wait from it creating an opportunity to show me that there's and then it'll send, after that wait, it'll send me through a push notification through the app, which will allow me to get a notification of, hey, new lead here. Go check out your pipeline so that you can contact them and work on that. And that's a really good thing, because no matter where you are, you're able to then have notifications come through to you, because it's a push notification. So all you need is really service. And what it does is it instantly comes through, but it's also different from a text, different from Messenger. So it's segmented or segregated outside of normal communication, which is good, because it helps us compartmentalize that. Perfect. And now we've got another 5-minute wait. And what this really does is this gives us time from a new lead coming in. Then we've got 5 minutes to have a look at it, do a bit of a plan or whatever, depending on the volume of the leads coming in. If we're getting 100 leads a day, more than likely today's messages are addressed tomorrow, and we're addressing yesterday's messages today, sort of a thing. It depends on one capacity of, can you contact everyone? How do you contact everyone? What we're able to do, if it's a warm lead, not a cold lead, what we're able to do is we're able to chuck in some automated text message greetings and things like that. We're able to send through an email or something like that, a welcome email. We could even send through one of our top blogs to sort of give them some value on the issue. So if we were selling a property, we could have an intro email that sends out like, hey, this is how first home buyers have been getting into property. These are some stories of what they've done. These are some of the things you need to be thinking about, and we can really get that going. So there's some pretty exciting things. If we've got cold leads, like I personally do, it's more around, we don't want to bombard them with messaging. We want to keep it as minimal because we don't want to come across as being very, not belligerent, but very aggressive to the fact that we just want a sale. We want to try and avoid that at all costs because, you've been there before. You get a telemarketer call you up and all he wants to do is sell you his product, and he doesn't give a shit about what you have to say, or you may not even want this product or anything like that. So when we're doing our outbound cold calling, or when we're looking at a lead, like a workflow for cold calling, we want to minimize the automated messaging, and we want to maximize our approach to be very authentic and very value-based. So we want to give people value. So rather than calling them to talk about them buying the product, what we can do is we can call them to do an opening call where we introduce ourselves, we introduce a bit about what we do, we test the waters, and we say, hey, would you be open to me calling back in a month just to see how you're going? I'd love to have the opportunity to pitch you. And one of the good things about that is we're able to build massive rapport with that person. Now, it may not matter to much, but with around, anywhere from 10 to 40% of consumers or your clients, what you're going to see is you're going to see them a lot more receptive in the second meeting, in terms of, they'll actually pick up the phone, they'll have a conversation to you because you haven't come straight off the bat trying to get something from them. So one really key thing when we're doing a cold calling list is how can we respectfully build a relationship with someone from them not knowing anything about us, with the potential that, hey, if our products suit your needs, we would love the opportunity to sell it to you, or to offer you a demonstration, or whatever it may be, a consultation, something like that. And what it does is there's a little bit of a disseminating an idea. So when someone says something new to you, your instant response is always, like me, to reject it, no matter what it is, because it's unknown. You don't understand it. You can't comprehend it just yet. You've got to sit with the idea, and you've got to let it absorb, and you've got to try and understand and see it from perspectives. And what you'll notice is you'll start to see over time, so 2 to 3 to 4 responses and things like that, what you're able to see, or conversations, you're able to see the value of it. It might shift, it might change. It's with new information is how we not create ideas, but how we change our ideas, or how we adopt new ideas. We don't adopt them through belligerence, but we adopt them through information. So that's one real key area around it that we're able to do. And what this automated workflows allow us to do is they allow us to communicate at the highest level, but we can also have the flexibility and the variety to be able to create any kind of or any pattern or strategy of activities or tasks that result in the sale that we want to obtain or result in the outcome that we want. Because if we understand people are going to be resistant to new information, what we're able to do is we're able to give them information, let them digest, give them another new packet of information, let them digest, give them another packet of new information, let them digest, have a conversation around the benefits and things like that. And then we're able to then have a conversation where we're on the same page because we understand the same information. And that's a real key thing, because a lot of sales around this is or a lot of sales in general has been derived or directed towards information overload and in high pressure tactics or not so much high pressure, but pressure selling, where, we're using limited time only offers, where, restrictive of the vital information that we've got or the competitive information. So we covenant, where, we're looking to minimize our costs and maximize our profits, which is never a good approach, in the sense that if you're trying to minimize the cost of a product and maximize the retail price that you can get for it, the downside is one, you price out a lot of the consumers, but also the value that they associate with it is lower because of the higher price. So the key, especially around that, is to make sure that when pricing, that the price is indicative of the value, or we give them more value than the price is. That way we never have to worry too much about buyer's remorse or about, the negative aspects or the negative reviews. What we want to do is we want to try and minimize that. You can never minimize negative reviews always. There are some people that just want to put it out there, but the key is how can we create this high level of value? How can we create this high level of, when you do business with me, this is the expected response, or this is the expected experience. And what we can do is we can condition people over the long term to expect that. And if they don't get that, then they demand that. So that is one big thing that's currently happening, where consumers are demanding that companies are ethical, that they follow the law, that they follow guidelines, that they don't take advantage of others, that they invest in the community, that they care about the community. These are big demands, because if a company doesn't, invest in the community, they separate themselves from the community and ostracize themselves. But the other thing is also, like, how are people ever going to know, like, and trust you if you separate yourself from the community? So definitely, in terms of being able to communicate at a high level and communicate effectively, concisely, that's one of the keys when we're looking to increase or maximize on what we're currently doing, is how can we give more and ask for less. So after the last one, where we've got our notification, then we've got a task. So the awesome part about this is, it creates a task, sends through a task to us. So we're able to either work from our pipeline or from our task list, which is very good. Efficiency-wise, task lists are always more efficient. But working through a pipeline gives us a better visual representation of where we're at and what we can do now. So it's sort of a tandem between both of them, where we want to be hitting our tasks at a high level, getting our tasks all done in the timeframes that we've set, but we also want to have time in the day where we can look at our pipeline, visualize where we're at, and see, is there any opportunities? Can I move any of these further one step? So depending on your sales process. Now, in the task itself, what we're able to do, if you have quite a set sort of sales process in terms of, you want to gather certain information in the first call, you want to give out certain information, you want to sort of follow a process of success that leads to the next meeting or the next call or them saying yes. Definitely one of the best parts and the best aspects is to always have in here, in this task, you can have a new question list, or you structure your first call into here so that when you're calling from the software, what you're able to do is you're able to pull this up and you're able to just read off of it and go through it. And what that does is that gives one comfort in asking those questions, but it also helps to not forget, because when we run through a process, we're able to hit every key area. When we just wing it and we do what we think we need, we're very hit and miss on what we get, or hit and miss on where the conversation goes. So, personally, what I've found is structure leads to more sales, and discipline in the fact that we're saying the same thing, we're asking the same questions, we're asking everyone, we're not out looking for the easy sales, but we're out looking to qualify. Are you someone who would enjoy doing business with me? Are you someone who would benefit from doing business with me? These are key questions because these allow us to identify who do we want to spend the most time with in our business. Do we want to spend the time with customers that are argumentative, that are, as soon as one thing goes wrong, that everything hits the fan and they're, about to, throw the bathtub out with the baby, like just that sort of instability in a process, especially a sales process, is very, very draining, but very inefficient, because instead of you having pre-planned and pre-structured out the path that everyone's going to follow, what you're doing is you're taking them down the path and then you're putting out fires every time something goes wrong. So definitely, it's very vital to have high structured processes so that you're able to basically, because with structure, what you get is you get the freedom to innovate, the freedom to improve, because you're not having to think of what you're going to do now and then. It's muscle memory, it's reflex. When I call someone, the same words roll off in the same cadence or the same pattern. Alrighty, so after we've done our call, we've given ourselves a 5-hour window for the call to take place. And then the next thing that happens is we get an add note. So, and to our lead, we will get a task of put in the notes. So, what was said, what do we need to get? So this is a good area as well to really structure out what are the notes we need to be taking. So we want to have it the same as our task to call. We want to be asking and taking the same things. But what we're able to do on the note taking is we can take the general vibe of the meeting. We can take, how do you feel it went? What were some of the areas where you felt that, rapport was low, rapport was high, and what were the areas where, you felt like, a high level of connection, authentic connection to the consumer? Where are their needs? Where are their wants? Where are their pain points? We're able to put all this in from the first call, and then we're able to structure it out on every call, that after every call we put in detailed notes. And it becomes habitual to the point where we don't need the notes to have that thought process happening or that behavioral process happening. And that's a very, very exciting place, because that's when we know we've got it down pat. Perfect. So I've got a manual task after the outcome notes. of move to call one if the meeting wasn't done, or move to the next stage of the sales process. So if on call one, the Zoom meeting wasn't booked, they go into call two. If they have it, or after the new lead workflow, they go into call one if there's no answer or if we've left a voicemail. If they've answered, there's three possible outcomes. One is that I'm not ready to move just yet. One is that, look, I'm not interested. Please don't contact me again. Like, this just isn't for me. And then the final one is, yeah, sure, let's do it. So let's get this moving. So they're your three things. And then basically what we're looking to do with these processes is we're looking to move people out of our pipeline so we can focus on who's the hot leads. So that'll pretty much do it for what is a workflow, and how can we use workflows to create efficiencies in our business to where we're more than one person. Because if we're able to automate all of our workflows in all the stages of our sales process, what we're able to do is we're able to take about, anywhere from, you could take, 80% of your tasks, you could take 40, 60, 20, whatever level you want it to be at, you can automate that level. And then all you focus on one, the manual tasks, and two, bi-monthly or bi-quarterly or bi-yearly, you just update your processes to make sure that they're reflective of the current new information, to make sure they're reflective of your current processes, any new changes in the market or anything like that. And what it allows you to do is it just allows you to easily have a great sales process, but to easily do it with the minimum time needed. Because as you develop and as you get better at utilizing workflows and automated workflows, you're able to create more, or you're able to create more complex, or you're able to simplify and streamline to whatever you want to do. You're able to create this process to reflect your manual process or your in-person process. And that's a really cool thing. And it's a game changer in the sense that it allows small businesses or people that aren't, marketing and sales majors and this and that to really, get a grip on the basics, start doing that, which is a dramatic increase on not doing anything. So it just allows you as a business owner, or you as an employee, or you as anything to just work better within your organization or within it. And it allows us to create structure, and structures where sales succeed. Because without structure, we can't structure our psychology. Like, we're at the whims of everything happening. Whereas when we have structure and focus, it doesn't matter what happens, because we know the process, we know the outcome, we know what we're doing, we know, and we're able to identify difference in different kinds of buyers. We're able to identify, is this a serious buyer? Is it not a serious buyer? Because we have visual representations for everything that's happening. So we're constantly reminded, and it allows us to really see some benefits. All right, well, that's everything on the workflows, the automated workflows and our pipeline workflows. It's a great tool that helps me personally, because if I had to go through and manually do all of this, my capacity would probably be at around 10 to 50 leads a week, new leads, whereas with this I'm able to handle between 100 to 200. And you can get that efficiency with all of your staff, to the point where, if we're going through 100 leads each a week and we're aiming to get 20 sales out of that 100, we're able to get that, but then we're able to see, where are we going wrong on the other ones? Where are the other ones falling off? Why are they falling off? And that's one real awesome thing that the data will allow you to do in your strategy meetings or your team meetings or your development meetings is you're able to get into the nitty-gritty, and you're able to see, one, who's doing the work, where are they slacking off, or where are they dropping out with the work, but also where are they losing the leads, and is it training that could increase that? Is it a different approach? Is it having a new strategy that could increase that? So there's some things to think about when checking out My New Admin. All right, well, I'm going to let you go. See ya.